If you have ever thought to yourself, Zanele never shares enough about herself, then you are going to really love today's episode, because today's episode is where I peel back the curtain around myself, around what the thinking and the dreaming and the visioning was when it comes to creating the UnLearners. I get a lot of people that ask me those questions. They also ask me around my entrepreneurial journey. So finding out what kind of leader I am. All of those beautiful questions are going to get answered during today's episode. So I hope that you're going to enjoy it. Just to give you a tiny bit of context, this episode was part of the KZN Top Business Woman interview series. So as part of winning that beautiful award in 2023, I got an opportunity to get an interview with the team at Top Business, and for them to really find out what are some of the key thinkings, the goals, the activities behind the business. And also, more importantly, they wanted to find out, at least important to them, they wanted to find out who is Zanele, what are some of the things she's plotting and thinking in her head that she doesn't share with other people. And you'll know if you follow me on social media that I hardly ever share intimate things around myself. So this interview is going to be super juicy. It's going to give you just the right mix of some of my personal musings, but it's also going to give you a great mix of my entrepreneurial side, how I think as an entrepreneur, what systems I've set up in my business that sort of help us to keep the cogs moving, etc., etc. And also what the big vision is behind the UnLearners. What are we planning for the future? And all sorts of juicy little tidbits. So enjoy this interview. I hope it is inspiring. I hope it motivates you. If you're an entrepreneur, I hope it inspires you to continue your beautiful journey. I believe that entrepreneurship is not just a beautiful example of personal development, because boy, oh boy, do you get developed, but it's also a wonderful opportunity to impact the world in a very profound way that is such a blessing to so many others, to our planet especially, because of the things we get to do to help improve the world and move the world and consciousness into a very great space. So I think that it's going to be a great one for you to enjoy. Sit back with your favorite drink, with your friends or family as you listen to this. I hope that this episode, and we've titled it Get to Know Zanele Njapha, Top Businesswoman Interview. I hope that this one is absolutely lovely for you. And I can't wait to hear your comments on it as well. So if you have any questions or comments that come through from this episode, please do ask them in the comments of wherever it is that you are listening to this or watching it, because it is also in video form. I love you. I love you. I love you. Lots of blessings, and bye for now. The UnLearners. Learn, change. Learn, change. The UnLearners. The UnLearners. The UnLearners. Learn, change, grow. My name is Zanele Njapha. My clients call me the UnLearning Lady because I work with an organization. I'm the CEO and founder of an organization by the name of the UnLearners. So to tell you a little bit more about my business and what we do, our business really helps large organizations and medium-sized organizations navigate change, basically taking them from frustrated and anxious and feeling unsafe when it comes to a range of different transformations, all the way to feeling excited, to feeling hopeful, but also equipped to navigate changes. And really what we do is we help them to unlearn and relearn, helping them to move through the process of who they used to be into who they now want to become and where the business is actually going. Oh my goodness, my journey is such an exciting one, but also when I look back, I go, oh my goodness, how did I do that? I actually was a primary school teacher starting off. That was my very first professional work and what I did my undergrad in. Good times. I did that for about 3 years. I've always had a passion for children. I love children, and I worked with grade 5s, grade 4s, and grade 7s. So just the little ones that would swing on the fans, jump on the tables, just lots and lots of fun. But I had a really good time doing that. And then I think that's when I knew that there was a call for something bigger. Yes, still teaching. I see myself still as a teacher, as an educator, facilitator, but making a different kind of difference, a different kind of impact. And then from there, I guess, as they say, the rest is history, because I made the transition then into facilitating, and I worked with a fantastic organization around strategic thinking and the future of work. And after that, I thought, you know what, it's time. I think the world really wants to have the conversation around letting go and grabbing hold. And that's when I started the UnLearners. There is so much that motivates me, but I think the most important thing, and I always go back to this, is my grandmother, my late grandmother. Such a big motivator of mine, because my grandmother was someone who, I think the last grade she did was like a grade 3 or a grade 4, and thereafter didn't do any other formal schooling, and then never held formal employment in her life. And I always think of her as someone who was so resilient. But, and this is the part that really motivates me the most and sometimes gets me a little bit emotional, is thinking about how if she had had the opportunities that I have access to today, I can't even think about what she would have done with them. And even though it makes me sad to think that she didn't have those opportunities, it makes me excited to know that I have them now, and I would be amiss if I didn't take advantage of those opportunities and do justice by what she built, and also the platform she created, because even in that circumstance, she was resilient, she was adaptable, she was flexible, she was creative, she was loving, she was empathetic. All these skills that I now help organizations to build, I didn't have to learn them from someone with a college education, but someone who didn't have that, didn't have those opportunities, but somehow was still able to nurture me. So thinking about my grandmother and I think a few other people, but her mostly, really motivates me to do the work that I do and really, really do it well. You know, with the journey around unlearning, and this is what I often share with my clients, that when you unlearn anything, it's not just about the organization where it is right now, or you as a leader where you are right now. Literally what you're doing is you're creating a new foundation for the future, but you're also justifying what might have happened in the past, or you're rewriting what's in the past. All of those years of conditioning around the way we do things around this company, and this is the system we use, and this hasn't worked, and so we won't try it. When you engage in the courageous act of unlearning in that moment, you shift something profound that serves not just you, it serves those who came before you in the organization and those who will come later on down the line. I think there's so much, but often some of the key achievements that I look to is work that I've done with my clients and success stories that we often have, and how clients often come back to say that this has been the transformation we've made, or this has been something we've unlocked in the business that has been profound for us, because we've seen either a growth in turnover, maybe we've seen a growth in our numbers in the team, or just something that has profoundly shifted within the organization. I think that for me is the greatest success. So there have been some great achievements on my journey, which I'm always really proud of, and I like to almost split my achievements into two. The very first parts are those achievements where you get recognized for the work that you've done and the impact that you've made. So at one stage, I was a part of Advanced Media's most influential young South Africans, and I was number 45 on that list of 100. And that was still back. And the funny thing about that is it was still back in 2019, when I was still teaching and doing this work on the side. So the other side of the achievements is when our clients have successes. And that for me is always so inspiring, because our big key themes or values in our organization is learn, change, and grow. So each and every project that we engage in, each and every client conversation that we have, each and every intervention, it's always about the iterative process of learning, changing, and growing. When things don't work, we don't sob, we pick it up and we see what we can do to make things work and to shift. And when we see that in our clients, I think that's always so exciting. We've had phenomenal stories that have been shared by clients where they've been able to launch even products and services that have been targeted around insights that they got from their clients.
Yes, I know I'm interrupting the episode, but it's just to let you know that if you're enjoying this, you are going to love our weekly newsletter. So every single week, I'm sending you tips, tools, insights to help you on your unlearning journey, but also I'm sending you updates about events, our various courses that are also going to support you as you learn, change, and grow. Okay, now, finally, let's get back to the episode.
Challenges are always exciting to think about, and I've experienced my fair share, definitely, of challenges.
I will never forget one of the first few times I started doing this work, or I was in front of an organization. It was their Africa roadshow. So they were doing this huge event of all their Africa team members, and this is a global organization. And I had delivered a workshop for them, a nice interactive future work skills workshop, and a keynote as part of the entire program. So I was playing a very big part in their program. And then afterwards, I came off the stage, and this lovely, lovely woman came up to me and she said, "You know what, Zanele, when you walked onto the stage, I just thought to myself, what is this tiny little girl going to say to us that we don't already know?" And I think at the time I received it, I didn't receive it badly, I wasn't hurt by it, but I found it quite interesting, and I respected the fact that she was able to share that with me. But later down the line, as I grew my career and as I grew my business, we started getting that a lot more. So I would sit in briefing calls with a client who, once they saw me or they engaged with me, would go, "We might want to work with someone else." Before we'd even gotten to the part where we discussed content and my expertise. And I think, when you experience something like that, it feels very real. The concept of ageism starts to feel very real. But also you start to understand how it's okay for you not to be for everyone. I think initially it hurts. You go, "My goodness, why wouldn't they want to work with me? I'm amazing." But then you start to make peace with the fact that it's okay. And I think as you develop in this work, as you grow a business, it's really important to firstly understand who your ideal customer is and serve those individuals. But if there is a misalignment at all, it's okay, because you don't want to work with a client where there's misalignment anyway. Business, I think our biggest challenge for myself at the helm has just been building a team. I am a self-professed introvert. And so for me, having conversations with people and investing in people in terms of really building my team in an intentional way has been somewhat of a struggle for me. Now I might know the right people because I'm a strategic thinker, so I always think I've got everything, all my T's crossed and my I's dotted. But it's actually slapped me in the face, especially this year, to say that no, actually, Zanele, maybe it's time for you to bring someone on who will handle the talent conversations, and that needs to be okay. And moving into a seat where I use my expertise and my skills is something that I'm learning the hard way. I had a hard time turning 30, to be very honest. Oh my goodness, I think now I'm in a much better space, but I really had to sit down and go, what does it mean to be 30? And so many people I spoke to said there's a clarity of purpose. There is an internal tapping in as well. And I've definitely found that. And so going forward into the rest of my 30s, that's what I'm going to take with me, is that beautiful wisdom that comes from knowing that I feel a lot more intentional about where I'm going, about where the business is going, and what I love and what feels like me, and also what doesn't feel like me. Definitely future goals is to expand the business globally. I intend to be a lot less tied down to being anywhere at any given time. So the way that we're building the business out now is we're expanding our consulting leg so that our consultants and our coaches can work from anywhere, and I can be anywhere at any given time, especially as someone who loves to not have to pick up the phone or to not have to respond to email. I love asynchronous communication because it means that I can live and work can be a part of my life, but not everything that I am. So I think that those are two key goals that we have as a business, is really just building in that flexibility. Because we don't have an office space, the intention has always been just a virtual business that can operate from wherever our clients are. I would give so much advice to young women following my path, but I think the key thing that I would definitely say is things that I wish I'd heard very, very early on. And the biggest thing, I think I'll share just the biggest thing, is for you to live from your strengths and not doubt that at all. I love the quote of a mentor of mine, Michael Beckwith, who says that if you don't do you, you won't be done. And for me, when I heard that for the very first time, it was so powerful, because each and every person, each and every entrepreneur, each and every business owner is so unique. And the way that you lead is informed by your biases, by your perspectives, by your eyes, how you sip your coffee, and these tiny little things all the way up to the big things. And sometimes we are so focused on trying to fit into the mold that we forget that those tiny little nuances are the things that make us so unique. And when we're able to really leverage and play on those strengths and make the most of them as we grow, we find that it's easier to do business. It's easier to lead a team. It's easier to be strategic about who to bring on board, who not to bring on board. Just coming from that place. And that's why I really love profiling tools and personality tests, because they bring that beautiful self-awareness that comes with the process of unlearning and relearning and constantly changing, because you center in yourself, what does being me feel like? And then you make your decisions from there. Should I have coffee with people? Should I not? Maybe it doesn't feel authentic to me. How do I build my business around myself and my personality? So that for me is an absolute game changer. I actually took the Strengths Finder the other day because I've taken the Enneagram, I've taken a few others, but almost 80% of my skills that came back was strategic thinking skills, analytical thinking skills. And I think that it's so clear in my business that that's the case, because even when I have conversations that sometimes need a little bit of empathy, I'm very strategic and logical. Here's what we need to do next. This is not working. Okay, so that's how you feel. Let's move along. But I think that those types of things have really made me aware around where my growth areas are. So I would definitely describe myself as highly strategic and effective as a leader. And then the last thing that I'll say is I'm big on goals. I start off my year with a list of just some of the big, ambitious, what do they call it, hairy goals, the BHAGs that I want to achieve or look forward to in the year with regards especially to the business. And I'll list all of those out, and then I'll even go back and say per quarter in the year, where do I want to be per quarter with regards to these goals? And these are personal and business goals as well. And further to that, I'll even go even deeper and say, okay, how do I take my quarterly goals and translate them into each and every single month? And what I found with that is it informs what I do every single day. Because when I set up my to-do list, I go back to my quarterly goals and I go, okay, if we want to be on track for this, what do we need to be doing today to get us there? To relax, I read, but when I read, I usually read books that will support my business or help me become a better leader. But I love to just sometimes switch off. I've started this thing where on weekends, I do absolutely nothing. I don't give feedback on anything. I don't sign off on anything. I do nothing. The only thing that I will do on Sunday is I might just set up for the rest of my week. What am I planning to do? What am I planning to achieve? But I'll sit there, I'll watch Netflix, I'll binge watch Netflix, some of my favorite shows, and just try to disengage, because a lot of what we teach our clients is how our moments of insights, moments of creativity happen when we're not working. And this is the really profound thing. We often think if I need to be productive at work, I need to be at work and working. But actually, most of our clients get their best ideas from the shower, when they're working, when they're making love, when they're running, swimming, all of those types of things. So I've literally been teaching myself to just step away, do nothing, and then come back to work with this beautifully fresh mind. So still working on that, but definitely getting a lot better with the resting. What it means to me to be part of the Top Businesswoman Initiative is that there's an impact to be made. I think this platform, any platform, really gives us an opportunity to inspire, but also an opportunity to elevate some of the work that we do so that others can not only see it, but we can leverage co-creation. I think whenever you have a platform, it's an invitation to other people who share the same passion. So for myself, I might be learning, changing and growing. Organizations, individuals who are passionate about unlearning and relearning, to go, oh my goodness, this is a concept that I might be able to practice, but this is something I can partner with. This is something that I can be a part of. And when you have a platform, it really creates that beautiful momentum for us to make an even bigger impact, but do it together.
The UnLearners. Learn, change. Learn, change. The UnLearners. The UnLearners. The UnLearners. Learn, change, grow.